Hey guys, what's up? It's me again, me Puppet. Got another video for you today. Today I'm going to react to Jordan Peterson. It seems there's a video out there that she's talking to two ladies that are talking about how people perceive him and everything. They said it's an interesting one, so if you got more, send them to me. And remember to like the video, share if you thought my reaction is interesting. Give me your opinion, comment, and hey, let's just start with the video.
Because I'd had an experience in relation to you years before where I had made a firm decision that I would never in my life listen to anything this man has to say. Based on a 3-minute clip, mind you.
Do you remember what it was that I said that was so profoundly irritating?
Ooh.
I mean, there's
do,
many.
Can you tell me what that was?
Yeah, that's fun.
Of course. You were talking about the gender pay gap.
Yikes.
And this was part of a longer interview, the interview that you had with Captain Newman. And this was a clip, 3-minute clip. You were talking about the gender pay gap, and you were saying that, paraphrasing here, but that the reason most women is because most women are agreeable, most women don't negotiate, etc., etc. I believe that was essentially it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. The main reason I can say from my personal experience, I was taken care by most of my aunties when my mom passed away. I'm not saying that I didn't have a father figure, but he didn't teach me how to represent myself at a business. It was like, hey, go survive, right? So with my aunties and everything, I was really taught to be very agreeable, listen to your boss or whatever. Don't make any rash decision because they can fire you or something like that. And I didn't understand that. But the more I grew, I realized that everybody, most men that I keep seeing, for example, I don't know why but for some odd reason, they always had a higher salary than me. And I was bothered by it. And I asked a friend, what did you do? He says, well, when I started the job, they offered me a salary. And I just told them, well, I want more. I was like, huh? Okay. But I speak more languages than you. He says, yeah, but did you ask for a raise? No, I never asked him for a raise. He's like, you are 37. You never asked for a raise. I was like, no. He says, why not? He says, I don't know. I thought I didn't deserve it. I thought I had to work hard to get something. And he was like, no, you just go ask, man. You don't know. Just, what's the worst that can happen? They can say no. And honestly, I didn't even know how to ask a girl out. My wife came to talk to me because I was never taught how to do that. It's like, I don't know, I was taught different. Let's just say that. So, what she's mentioning about the job, I think a lot more ladies suffer from that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't mind an agreeable woman. But being agreeable at your job doesn't really benefit you in the long run.
Essentially, giving people options as to why it could be that there's this thing that exists or doesn't exist. And I didn't even finish the clip. I didn't even finish the 3-minute clip. But based on the things that another out of context clip that I had seen before, and the way that I'd heard your name being spoken of before in the context of the trans conversation that was happening around that time, 2018. Right, exactly. Again, I was watching this clip, and it's almost like I wasn't even listening to what you were saying. I had already decided that
I have already decided. I have to admit, I've been there when some ladies are like, I'm a feminist or whatever. Or if somebody comes, hey man, we're gonna meet this girl. Hey, by the way, I just wanted to let you know she's a feminist. Immediately, it just turned me off. I wouldn't even let the lady speak. Or even if the lady spoke and she gave me the option to speak, I didn't even bother to listen how she's gonna respond. Because I already knew she might be nice now, but later she's gonna say something stupid. She's gonna remove my rights. She wants me to protect her, but she's independent. And it just bothered me. It just really bothered me that when somebody tells me you were a certain type, I already placed you in a lens. And whenever you did anything honestly or for a good intention, I was like, you're just a feminist in the end. You're gonna ask something that I don't want to give you anyway. So why even bother? Just not till you go away? or unless you say something stupid, then I'm gonna assume it's something super bad. And I've been living like that for a very long time in my 20s. It is only until I got a girlfriend and I realized, hey, maybe I made a few mistakes. And I realized, you know what? Maybe I'm thinking too much. Maybe I'm in a delusional world. Maybe I might be right, but you don't even give the person an option to win. Because your delusion, you have to be a victim. And the fact that you can't destroy the victimhood because you don't give even a solution to your victimhood. So you're in this cycle of doom that all women that say feminist, I am a feminist, they want something from you to prove they are stronger than you. It was a very negative mindset. With time, I outgrow it. I realized that, hey, people make mistakes. The mistake doesn't label them something forever. Because I made some mistakes. And there were certain ladies that did give me a chance to prove my point. And that's when I realized we have to remove that. But right now, because of social media, it's worse. Because you just find somebody online that agrees with you, not even a friend. And you're done. I'm right. I got somebody that wrote the same thing as me. Yeah, man, it's a crazy world, man, if you're not careful. I listen to everybody now, even the supposed enemy, because you shouldn't take nobody's ID and replace it with yours. You should take multiple IDs and make one opinion the way you consider it's a average, valuable, equal plan. Nothing too much, nothing too left, nothing too right. Have your freaking opinion, man. Don't live under a label.
I don't like this man because someone that I trust has told me that I shouldn't like him. So therefore, the decision is made. Why do I even have to finish that video?
Right, of course.
And it was just, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just normal.
Well, we use heuristics like that all the time, and it's easy to get caught up in them because, well, you can't listen to everyone.
No.
And so you kind of have to make a snap judgment about almost everyone. And the default is you don't listen because there's like 7 billion people. So
yeah, I remember I told my wife, I'm not sure if I said it already, but I told her that I just want to relax. I don't want to fight again. I just want to chill. This whole victim of feminist, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have a word ready. When you mention one thing, I'm ready to give you an answer because I want to sound cool as if I'm super intelligent. I was like, I just want to live, man. When you say something stupid, I'll just ignore you. But I don't want to be always ready for everybody that I might assume is a feminist. That doesn't make any sense. I just want to chill, man. And it makes sense that you just label certain people because for your head, for your mental health, it's kinda healthier. But if you're gonna label everyone with that way of thinking, oh man, you can never talk or you're gonna talk forever and your brain is gonna explode.
So obviously you're not listening to most of them, so you don't need much of an excuse. And it's really easy for that to get, and I mean, it's not like I haven't experienced that. Like, on my podcast, I invite people on. Abigail Schreier, for example, she wrote, I don't remember the name of her most recent book, but it's a investigation into the downside of the rush to make everything gender fluid, essentially. And I was terrified when I had her on. I mean, I was in rather
irreversible
damage. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing, it makes sense because Jordan Peterson started with that video that he had to talk with a bunch of kids. I remember at school when they started with the whole pronouns thing that you have to talk to me like that. So if you're going to bring somebody on your show that's all about the gender fluid and everything, of course, you're just labeled with somebody and you're done. Just like I mentioned, feminists, it's like a feminist is inviting somebody that's going to talk about feminists. It's like, oh no, I have a friend that's called Meat Puppet and he doesn't like feminists. Oh my God, he's going to label me. In the past, I would have done it. I just realized if I can't talk to a person, I should be able to judge him. That's not fair. Because I don't like when somebody doesn't want to talk to me just because I like a certain person. For example, I liked Trump. I didn't like everything, but I kind of agree with a few things. But for just having that opinion, dude, I got into trouble. And you can relate it with a lot of things right now.
That's
And,
the one.
I want to have Andy Know on my podcast, but that also makes me nervous too. And, because he's tarred with the fascist brush. And then you get, it's guilt by association. And that might be part of what you were feeling. So so you think, well, you need a simplifying heuristic. And part of that is, well, that most people aren't worth listening to. And he's definitely not worth listening to. And, and then that can so easily become politicized. And once it is, especially when the political has become religious, it's really, really hard to overcome that.
Yeah,
and so,
it really is.
A lot of the things that the radical left are pointing out are in some sense universal human failings.
Yeah.
And so they have that truth about them. I mean, because we could ask ourselves, given the implicit tendency for human beings to have a pronounced in-group preference,
yes,
and the potential we have for violence against out-group members,
yes,
how do we all address our proclivity to damn the foreigner? Okay, that's a really important question.
In my experience, how I damn whatever he mentioned, but I understand where it's coming from. I started go on a one-on-one dinner with people I never understood, that have like a weird difference of opinion. Like going out with them and just have a meal as a human with a human. Not a Muslim, not an atheist, not a Christian, not nothing, not a Hindu, not a feminist, misogynist. Just have a normal dinner and just be kind of friendly, but also ask honest questions that people are like, I didn't expect this question, that you want to know me. And then we talked about that. And once I start asking, they start asking me. That might be like, yeah, I don't agree with you, but I get where you're coming from. You have to create a vibe, but you can only do it one-on-one, not as an activist. Because there's always going to be some idiot screaming in the background, throwing some item. It doesn't work. But actually, the people that I like the most at this moment, the newest friends that I know, is an atheist and a Muslim. I've never really bothered to invest in other type of, because I'm a Christian. But I realized that once I accepted that everybody is gonna hurt me, I should be a victim anyway, I just place my heart and I see who's gonna chop my heart. And when they don't chop my heart, and that person, I'm like, I like you. Whatever you believe in, I like you. Because you don't treat me like a Christian. You treat me like a human. For me, that was a very good change of mind. And that's when I realized this can actually be done. And you don't have to battle in your head forever. Everybody is a person.
I feel like I've got a good answer.
Okay, let me add the one end to that. And then the next thing is, well, we all have these proclivities. How are they exacerbated by power and privilege? Right? Those are good questions. But as soon as we make it instantly racist, well, then we can't even ask the damn questions properly anymore.
Yeah, that's why I said we have to ask honest questions. But you can these days. And it's if I feel a honest question that somebody at least attempts to be vulnerable, to have an equal ground, if I have that with anybody, that person, I just fall in love with them. Literally. I don't need to speak to you now forever. But whenever I meet you, I will treat you like a brother or a sister. I can guarantee you that. There is such a beautiful honesty that I even might invite you to my house. Because there's a different feeling. But it's really hard to have this conversation these days. Because even if I want to have it with certain people, what happens? They will be guilted in association with me. And I'm like, dude, let us talk, man.
So, Mick, sorry.
My joke is over now.
Oh, sorry, I stomped all over your timely joke.
You stomped all over my tiny little joke. I was thinking about that question earlier, though. If everyone has these tendencies, which they certainly do, I've noticed that if I have a guest on my podcast, and I think my audience is fairly open-minded, but then I'll have a guest on that, and they'll hate them. And they'll be like, well, you can't just, even if you don't agree with them, maybe they are wrong, but like, you can't just cancel people because they don't agree with you because you're doing exactly the same thing with the people you're complaining about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. They're probably not right. And like, are you so sure your life is going so much the way you want it to go, and you're such a bloody paragon of virtue, and the light is shining out every orifice, that everything you think and say is correct, and everyone who disabuses you of your notions is evil? You're really so sure of that, are you? So, you wander around and you think, God, maybe I should listen to this person because I'm such an ignorant bastard and I'm so full of malevolence, and maybe they'll drop one thing on me that won't make me like miserable and doomed to hell and to drag everyone else there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. And what I did, it was gaming. I just hid. I went under the ground. I didn't have an opinion. I was very compliant with everybody because I felt always that I had an obligation to be nice to everybody. That was my issue. And I didn't challenge anybody. And whenever I wanted to change the mold, it was like, oh, you're just like one of them. I was like, what do you mean like one of them? How can you push me in the group of the men that you date and they dumped you or they cheated on you or whatever when I never had a girlfriend before? It's like, okay, I'm just going to make a different decision. I just want to do, oh, you're just one of them. What do you mean I'm one of them? Yeah, you should treat the woman with respect. You just called me the F word because I was crying for my ex. Yeah, but this was just in the moment. You should take it that serious. It became such a mumbo jumbo. It was so bad for me that when I was in Curacao, it was like that. I was in Holland, it was like that. I just left, went to Spain with my girlfriend. I said, you know what? I'm going to start over. And I'm going to be a different man so nobody can victimize me that I'm something different. Because the more you comply to certain people, the more you think you're doing something great, but the more I felt I was in a prison. And in Spain, I started to explore to be me. But then again, I was already 26. So I had to rebuild myself for such a long time. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't easy. I'm at peace now at 41. But whew, this is so bad when so many eyes look at you in such a negative way and you just can't respond. And at night, every day, you're like researching, what can I say? What can I do? I need to speak low with my voice low because I don't want to sound like the guy that I hate. I need to articulate. And there was one point I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to be like, oh, okay. And just go away. Make my own family, got my 2 babies, wife happy and everything. And now everybody's like, yeah, you're lucky. What do you mean I'm lucky? I just left. The girl that I was helping her boyfriend with all the feminist issue for almost 6 years that called me the F word. The moment I left to Spain, you know what happened to this girl? She didn't have a guy to talk about her boyfriend that she was so angry at. After that 6 years, suddenly they married, they got 4 kids, they're super happy. I was like, I'm done with this game, man.
Yeah, well.
You know, I felt something similar when I finally leaned into listening to you properly. Because what was interesting, even after that moment in 2018, watching that 3-minute clip, deciding this man is evil, I want nothing to do with him ever again. And of course, I didn't think I would ever have anything to do with him.
Yeah, look what happened.
Infiltrated.
Me,
yeah.
Right? People in my, especially people that were not really connected to the digital world, a lot of older men in my life, for example, and women in my life would always tell me to read your book. It's honestly, people would always say to me, Africa, you will really love this book. I would have friends of mine send me lectures. Oh. I think you're really going to like this. And I would just completely ignore it. And in my mind, I'd be thinking,
hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. How are you? That's probably the most loaded question you could ask somebody in the last 2 years.
what am I going to find? What am I supposed to like? Because again, I have this idea of you built up in my head. So I'm finding it very confusing that people that know me very well are
I
telling me
already
that
know
there's something
you.
that I'm going to like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, what the
Very
hell?
confusing. But again, for years, what the hell? For years I ignored it. So when I started watching your lectures late 2019 and last summer as well, in the beginning I could notice myself listening to you and waiting for a moment where I could say, aha, see? See?
Right.
Yeah.
I knew I was right. And you know what? I waited. That moment never came.
Mm-hmm.
That moment never came.
That
and
comes
that
for
also,
me
right?
all the time.
Really. And that again, so it's like there wasn't one moment of being awake and then it's done. So many little, tiny, seemingly insignificant moments.
Remember, I said like I left Spain at 26. That was something that I had to change. And then when my wife was on her own, a different character appeared when she wasn't around her friend. I need to envelop that also too. It was a process. People change. And actually the problem is the person that you are before you reach age 40, you're changing too, what you like. My wife was changing too. And even if you're at peace, you don't know if you're at peace in the next 5 years. So it was an interesting process that I realized it's gonna be horrible at any age if I don't open my mind and just listen to other people before I come to a conclusion. That is the problem. And once I realized that is the only solution, that you're always gonna get hurt, but you can solve it the next day and become a better person. That solved so many issues for me that I'm so happy that I can teach my sons that. Because I'm going to tell you, I've had a very bad moment. Well, I don't want to go into that because our video will be too long. But I think you guys get the gist what is happening with me sometimes.
Where I'm just sitting here by my sofa, just watching and listening, observing myself, waiting, for that confirmation that I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it never coming. And then I have to deal with that. And then so again, my curiosity, I finally allowed myself to be curious again. And now, Jordan, I can say you have been one of the most influential people to me for so many reasons I couldn't even mention right now. But to be able to have the conversations that I do now publicly, you have, and I could have never imagined this ever in my entire life. Things like this don't just happen. And the fact that I can tell you this.
Oh no.
Thank you. Just thank you.
Okay.
You got him.
It's layers, man. There's so many layers that she had to remove.
It's a pleasure.
He doesn't hear this a lot.
It's a rough pleasure. But...
I know.
You know, you knew what happened to me with Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
That was something. It's really something to see yourself portrayed. You know, I got accused of being a Nazi.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. They portrayed him as a freaking Nazi, man. A freaking Nazi, Red Skull. I made a video about it. A bunch of people also came after me for just suggesting, guys, you guys are over-exaggerating what you're talking about. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact, I remember that once I started doing that, that is when I started getting so much hate on my videos. I remember this. This is so messed up. The fact that you label this guy like, you guys have no idea how bad it is that you label somebody that didn't accept a specific race and was gassing these bodies like it's a normal routine. You know, like a normal routine. And you're thinking that he's going to do that? When you're the one comes with a weird logic and we can't even speak to you. And he was saying all those things like, You guys are making rules. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's the same way like certain people think, and they go and they label him. How does that make sense? You can't make a guy feel like this for just speaking how he wants to help certain men. Men that go cry at him like this. Hey, thank you for this, bada beam. Thank you, Jordan Peterson. And you're like, yeah, but you're helping a man. Well, yes, certain men are horrible. But maybe they need to cry like this so they are in a process to change. You're not born a horrible person. Everybody has an experience, even if you don't agree with them. Give people time to understand something as if you planted a seed and let's see what is gonna grow. A tree, a cactus, a flower, you have to plant a seed. You can't change people. You can't change people screaming. It's not possible. I feel so bad for this guy. I feel so bad for him. I remember when he even got sick because all the stress he was experiencing, how people were laughing online that he had to go, I think, all the way to Russia or something for some weird treatment or something. It was really bad. And I felt so bad. And it pissed me off when people were laughing at his issue. I almost went gangster online. You bastards! I just kept it chill because I was like, do not become the people and accept that you're gonna suffer always more if you're gonna care. Just take it as it is and try to make something better out of it. Use it like a reverse Uno. Accept it's always going to happen. Accept it's a journey. There's no end. Because whenever there's an end, there's somebody younger ready to reverse Uno your opinion. It's so... I know it sounds so negative, but hey, if there's never a solution, then make the journey as good as you can make it by listening and provide the right answer. Because you can't solve everything. You can't solve everybody. But you can give yourself a reason to go forward forever. Especially when you have a family. I don't think he's gonna quit ever. He's not gonna quit ever. It's just the way he's crying, it won't stop though. So you do need the mental fortitude against people that just want to scream at you because they're quite delusional and will never provide you a solution.
Pretty much when all this happened, it was really something because I had been teaching students what we're talking about today, about these temptations that you faced and how people, as individuals, get sucked into that totalitarian hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then, so that was something for that to happen, such a reversal, and then to have that comic book come out. Well, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal to be portrayed, because Nazi wasn't enough, right? We had to go right for the archetype itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've raised about $400,000 for charity now on the basis of that. So that was a fun reversal. But it was really shocking when I first saw that. I just couldn't believe it. I was very ill at the time, too.
Yeah,
I thought, this can't be real. This has to be Photoshop. This cannot possibly be happening. It's so completely beyond comprehension. And, you know, to come from the pen of one of the foremost black intellectuals. And I use the racial category only because that's the categories that he's using to operate within.
Yeah.
You know?
So life is really weird.
This is true.
Right.
This is true. As this whole conversation illustrates.
We live in a very weird world that sucks right now. And if you want to be the right person to have an open discussion, you just have to accept that you're going to receive so much hate sometimes until you realize we just live in a world that doesn't understand having an open mind at the moment. I try to be that, but sometimes you just have to be like, okay, I need to stop. I'm at a moment that I can take a lot more than I can, but now that I got MS, I just can't. I don't bother to convince people anymore. My head might explode one day, and I got people that told me that I deserve this. You know, um, I got people something that told me, for example, oh, guess your God is treating you very well. That's you like your God? Well, good. Take your MS, go pray to Him, hope He heals you, Dumbo. You know, it comes a point that I'm like, okay, I get that you don't understand why I might pray or whatever, but the fact that you actually have to go that way, you won't be even if I joke, you know what? I'm gonna pray for God so you have an accident and you stay in the hospital. People would be very pissed if I would say that, but I won't say that. I want to say it something just to piss you off because I don't care how it affects you. But then I realize if I go down that road, it's a road of suffering and disillusion, and I will never get out of that trap. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to go back to that person because I've been there. I'm happy I have peace. And I can give something to my son and to my friends that are from a totally different culture or beliefs or whatever, that we can at least be like, hey man, we're not equal, but we can share something. Something. And if you can share something, I will take that. That's enough. I don't need everything. I will take some measure of freedom that we can have some fun or openness here. We don't need everything, you know? But there are certain people are like, you know what? I need everything just in case I could get something extra. I need to be right just in case it will affect my sponsor. I need to cancel you because that shows that I'm on the moral high ground. You know? I don't know, man. I just start to realize with time, grandpas are right. Just go live very far away from the big city because you want peace. You can't change everybody. If you change some, the younger generation is gonna come and refresh it anyway. The world is not gonna change for you because it hurts you. But you can change in a way that the world doesn't trample you over and over and over. Anyway, I think I can talk about this very long. I don't want to drag it too long. Let me know what your guys' opinion is, if you guys enjoyed it or not, likes and everything. And peace to you. And yeah, I hope you really, really enjoyed it and that you have the same peace that I'm having right now. Okay? Peace.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Turlo que ta verdetta welcome. Dem bida mi a tu initiativa.